Ahoy, and welcome to Set to Stun. It is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. Something that I thought I wanted to put in here. But the Fantasmagorium proudly presents Set to Stun, a Star Trek show hosted by Scotty. A show that wears a red shirt with confidence. Yeah, that was good. No, I like that intro. That was actually rather nice. Hello and welcome to Set to Stun. A couple of things I'm fairly certain that I'm going to have to take care of. We are not currently doing a Martinis, Gadgets, and Guns for this day that I mentioned before. What is it, February 16th? I think so. And the reason for that is because there have been circumstances outside of our control. We don't have the availability to have Cat. And you can't have a Martinis, Gadgets, and Guns without Cat. So, while I do not mean to disrupt your regularly scheduled programming, I also don't want to disrupt my regularly scheduled programming, if you get my meaning. This is Wednesday. It's 9 o'clock. It's main event night for me. So I really like this time slot, and I don't want it to go away. And if I don't provide you content, well, then what good am I? Yes, I am looking at all of my 5 viewers. And for that, we thank you. However, the show must go on, as they say. And when you don't have an expert with you, and let's be square, Cat is the bond. Like when people ask Siri to define pi, that's what happens when I talk to Cat. And it's just like, no, say another number. It's incredible and amazing. So without Cat, I cannot do a Set to Stun. Now, on the flip side of that situation, I would like to point out that Set to Stun is not just me. Set to Stun was a fantastic situation that happened a long time ago. Well, and by a long time ago, I'm fairly sure that it was around the second season premiere of Lower Decks. But we started off Set to Stun with Chandra. And it's really weird and strange to do a Set to Stun without Chandra. Now, if you don't know Chandra, she has actually done more with Star Trek than most people that I've save one. Most people that I've talked to about Star Trek. She was a lady Klingon on Discovery. Now hold your horses, my friends. Let's get something clear. I don't like Discovery. But I like people who like Discovery. And I watch Discovery from time to time. Let's not go crazy. I'm not religious. And I especially like people who have been in Star Trek as a whole. So, phrasing. Anyway. Chandra and I met. And she told me that she was in Star Trek Discovery, and I was so happy. And then we did do several episodes of Set to Stun, and we just Lower Decks primarily. Unfortunately, an animated sitcom is not a very recapable and analytical show. You can't really get that much in depth when it comes to Lower Decks. So we tried it for a while, and we were doing rankings and things like that. And you know what? It kind of fizzled. Now, that doesn't mean that set to stun is not going to be a thing that happens. It just means that we're shuffling things about. So, I hope to discuss many things with Chandra or any co-host who wants to actually put up with me for long enough to talk about Star Trek. And by any, I mean Chandra ditched me to the curb. She had no time for me anymore, and she didn't want to talk about Star Trek. That is not true. It is absolutely, I don't know the difference between libel and the other thing. What is the other thing? Never mind. Don't worry. So anyway, now that I've rambled long enough, I would like to give credit where credit is due. Kat and I will be back next week with David Niven's comedic masterpiece, Casino Royale. And Chandra Live is available on Twitch. I believe she is one of the forerunners of Twitch. Have you heard of Twitch? Chandra has been live streaming. And if you go to Chandra Live on Twitch, it automatically makes Twitch stock go up. She's incredibly entertaining. She plays amazing games. I have journeyed to many a fantasy kingdom, and I'm not much of a fantasy kingdom guy, but I watch her channel, and it's not a booby channel. Cleavage, maybe. Booby, no. Well, and before we get to the show proper, I think there are a couple other people I have to say that you should watch them. Have you heard of Cinema Gulp? Cinema Gulp is a friend of the channel, and he is super fabu. Well, it's not a he. Cinema Gulp, I make this mistake all the time. Cinema Gulp is a team of experts, and they know what they're doing. They review films through a critical eye of direction, and writing, emotion, and craftsmanship that you will find nary another place. Nary another place? Yeah. On the internet. And you should absolutely subscribe to them. Specifically, if you want to go check out their soundtrack to Clerks, it's a retrospective. It's great. It's a 10-minute video. It's fantastic. You know what? I should probably link it in the description or somewhere. Give me a second. I would like to get some structure to this show at some point. So yes, Cinema Gulp. Give them a go. Also, Positive Fandom with absolutely a good time. Primarily focusing on, Star Wars. Loves her Grogu. And if you want to hear in-depth analysis of The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and also she does multiple, and the Star Wars content is with Catherine, and Tom Jr. Jackson, friend of the channel. Incredible conversation surrounding that show, but also she does Positive Fandom, pardon me. I keep individualizing channels. These are not people. They are shows. Correct. So, Positive Fandom also does a Wheel of Time show. There is a show with Dieter Bastian, but I think it strays into something that I don't know about, so I'm not really qualified to say what it is. But it's Positive Fandom is exactly what it sounds like. It is a matter of discussion with a conflict. And I would say give it a go. check it out. And most of the all of the channels that I've mentioned today are, I gotta stop saying maybe it's a Canadian thing. Maybe I'm drunk. Yeah. Most of the things that I've been discussing, most of the people that I've been discussing, all of the people that I reference throughout this show are about positively bringing fandom to everyone. Like, there's no reason to fight. If you don't like something, don't pay attention to it. You know how I gave it up? By not looking it up. Which is going to disturb many a person this evening as we get to the show proper, which is Set to Stun. Hi, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I fiddled with all of my I was like trying to figure out how to get this here, but then I lost my clasps, and I know that this insignia contradicts these pips. That's why I'm only a lieutenant. So chill out, okay? Stop being such a jellico. There have been announcements. There have been movements happening. Oh my God, movements. It sounds like someone's taking a poo. Well, so Star Trek has been on the move. And I have to say, I am not very much of a Kurtzman Trek fan. I don't. Well, let's not go through an entire history because a retrospective may be in the cards. I watched the most recent episode, and unfortunately, the characters contradicted themselves, and it didn't seem like they were doing a job. It seemed like they were being mercenaries. And my problem with that is that if your job is being a mercenary, I don't think you work for Starfleet, and I don't think you work for the Federation. Star Trek Discovery. Every time I tune in, I am looking for the best possible thing. I am looking for good Star Trek. And every time I walk with a sugar cone filled with sand, looks great. The outside is perfect. The inside, rough, it's coarse, it gets everywhere. And that's how bad Star Trek Discovery is, in my mind, and how I relate to it. Just because I don't find it to be Star Trek. I find it to be too emotional. Now, when I say emotional, I don't mean crying. I mean even the sarcastic mugging to other characters, which is an interesting situation. I think that Star Trek is a workplace drama. Whether you be on a spaceship or being a lab technician for Mark Harmon on NCIS, those are all goal-driven narratives that work towards a goal. And unfortunately, the first time in Star Trek, I don't know what the goal of Discovery is. I understand what Lower Decks is. Lower Decks is making fun of the procedures. That's why Boimler is there. Sorry, this is going to be spoilers for Star Trek. And I may be babbling. I don't know. Wait, yeah, I do. Yeah, if I have to say that, I'm babbling. Yeah, I'm probably babbling. I'm the only one here. So, at least in Lower Decks, they do a job. They may be snarky about it. They may buck against the system for it, but they're still doing a job. Discovery seems to flout the fact that they have a job, but they're going to do it their way, which is strange. It's a very strange situation with Discovery. Hi. Hi. I'm Scotty. Hello, Scotty. I'm Mike Berman. Berman? Burnham. Does it matter? The lady's name is Michael. And I don't mean to be disrespectful against any ladies named Michael. Any ladies named Michael, please comment below. I would like to hear a hello. And if your name is Michaela and you say your name is Michael, you're lying. You know it. Anywho. Hey, Michael. You know how I got my first command? No, Captain. How did you get your first command? Oh, I mutinied. Well, Captain, that doesn't necessarily leave me with the most confidence. At which point, I just have to flat out say, and scene. At which point, I just have to flat out say, like, Discovery is the tale of a mutineer making good, which is strange. If I may shift gears slightly. Last night, I was watching Star Trek The Next Generation, and I got to see the episode The Wounded with Colm Meaney. And, oh, my stars, I wish I could remember the name of the actor who played Captain Maxwell. Because he's great. He played the warden in Shawshank Redemption. He played the police chief in Demolition Man. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the physical stand-in for Egon Spengler in Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is a fact that I should check, but I'm pretty sure it happens, or it did happen in the production, I think. I forget his name, though. Please feel free to correct me. Oh my God, this is like whack-a-mole. There we go. You know what? You know you have a less than successful YouTube channel when there are European names with European text. Oh, Russian bots. All up in your grill. But that's not important. You don't need to know that. That's all administrative bull. So I just watched The Wounded, and I thought it was amazing, not only because of the restraints and the professionalism of the characters in terms of trying to do a job. I thought it was, for a less than Star Trek term, I would say bitchin'. And then I compared and contrasted that with the mid-season premiere of Discovery, and it was like, wow, even in these heightened circumstances that you get in Star Trek The Next Generation, everyone conducts themselves like a civil individual. And when you stop conducting yourself like a civil individual who is trying to be professional in a quasi-militaristic organization that's primary goal is exploration, and there are certain things where what you signed up for was to, study algae. I want to figure out what quantum filaments are. And then somebody decides to go and take one of the fleet out to go and start hurting other people. It's like, whoa, buddy, whoa. This is not why we developed warp propulsion. It's for exploration. We are not conquerors here. Ya dick. I enjoy that juxtaposition, as opposed to, which is very strange, considering the geopolitical climate of everything. I find Star Trek Discovery to be much more colonialist than any of the other Star Treks. The other Star Treks are more hands-off. And now that we are dealing with our own history and looking upon it as, colonialism, when you went and imposed things on other people, that's bad, right? Yes, it is. Star Trek said that in the 60s. Then you get to Discovery, and they're like, oh no, we're the moral authority. We know what we're doing. You guys against colonialism? You don't like it. But you're the moral authority that wants to... have you heard of the Prime Directive? Have you at all? Neat. From time to time, I will bounce in front of the camera and behind the camera, and I will question what these people are doing while somewhat watching what these people are doing. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you mind if I smoke? Moving on. Whenever I smoke, I think of Samuel Clemens in Times Arrow Part 2. Well, you're saying you've eliminated crime and poverty? Well, I suppose that's something worth giving up a cigar for. Jerry Hardin, such a great actor. You may remember him as Deep Throat from X-Files. I was about to say X-Men. You caught me. Amazing actor. And also, I really enjoyed Times Arrow. It is one of my favorite comedic performances from Patrick Stewart. And speaking of Patrick Stewart, if anyone is really interested in what this is, if you would like to be a part of the Fantasmagorium show, if you'd like to discuss Star Trek with me, you're more than welcome. I invite the conversation simply because I present myself as a person who knows everything, but I am a person who knows nothing. And so I am V'ger. I am just traversing the galaxy, absorbing information, attempting to grow beyond my original programming. If you'll excuse the existential nature of everything. Hello, we have a viewer. Cheers and hello, and now they're gone. So, anyway, the information that I have to offer you, I should have something that is actually news, information, content, if you will. They've announced a new Star Trek television show. Or not a television show, heavens. They have announced a new Star Trek film. It was at the Paramount investors meeting, or whatever they do, corporate people. And we're going to get another Kelvin movie, Star Trek 4. The Search for More Money, obviously. And it's going to feature the original Kelvin cast. According to TrekMovie.com, as written by Anthony Pascal on February 15th, 2022. Today, the previously announced Star Trek feature film set to be released in the holiday season of 2023 took a big step forward. This is the updated article. It may finally be happening. Today, during an investor day for Viacom CBS, now being renamed Paramount, which it should. Producer J.J. Abrams, I'm sorry, I'm going to editorialize. I apologize for that. Producer J.J. Abrams announced plans to start production on the next Star Trek feature film by the end of the year. According to Deadline, the planned film will bring back the crew of the previous 3 Star Trek movies, with talks underway with Chris Pine to reprise the role of James T. Kirk. I like, and I'll editorialize at the end. Please, Mr. Scott, keep your opinions to yourself until the end of the report. Bye. Deadline also reports that the plan is to bring back Zachary Quinto as Spock, Zoe Saldana as Uhura, Carl Urban as Dr. McCoy, John Cho as Hikaru Sulu, and Simon Pegg as Commander Montgomery Scott. So far, there are no details available regarding the plotline beyond the inclusion of the Kelvin cast last month. Simon pegged? Yeah, we're surely going to edit that out. Simon Pegg talked about how the cast has been eager to reunite again. He said, "We would all love to get back to it again, albeit with some sadness because of losing Anton Yelchin. I always wish I could give you something more definite, but we just don't know. We'll have to wait and see." Now, this is update 2, official announcement. Before we get to the official announcement, I would like to say, I love Anton Yelchin as Chekhov. I thought he did well. I do know other people. Who do not. Sorry, I just had a mind Twitter. And I was like, no, I know someone who doesn't like it. Sorry, Rob. I like him. I think he's a cute caricature who is an homage, sabotage, works, homage to the original Chekhov. So I enjoyed his performance, while comedic, still competent. All right. We will move back, but I would like to say hello, Tim Talk. How are you, sir? Stir. Yeah. Tim's Talk asks, what up, Scotty? And the answer is Star Trek. Star Trek is up. We're just hanging out, and I'm talking about Star Trek. We couldn't get a Martini's Gadgets and Guns, so I thought I would hang out and play. Please, also, I am going to do my best to pay attention to the chat tonight. It's a very different situation when you don't have a co-host. So I hope you enjoy me talking, but I would much rather hear from you. So, update 2. The new Star Trek feature film was listed among the many new projects announced during the Investor Day events in an official press release from Paramount. The release listed a number of projects under this description, new blockbuster franchise expansions, also unveiled today include, with the following for the 2023 film: Star Trek, the next feature film with Matt Shakman directing and J.J. Abrams producing, will feature the original cast and new characters. And by original cast, we mean the recast cast. Is it that hard to use language properly? The next theatrical film with Matt Shakman directing and J.J. Abrams producing will feature the Kelvin cast or the 2009 cast, or will feature Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, et al. It is not featuring the original cast. You're gonna have to go to space to get Jimmy Doohan back. It's a thing. God, corporations suck. Sorry, 2022 just got under my skin. New Star Trek. This bullet point on Star Trek is a bit more definitive about the inclusion of the Kelvin cast with no caveats. So even assuming talks are underway, With the cast as indicated by the Hollywood trades, Paramount appears confident enough to make this announcement to the investor community and the media. Now, I'm going to take a moment here just for myself. I like 2 out of the 3 Kelvin universe films. Star Trek 2009 recaptured Star Trek for me, and while it was directed by J.J. Abrams, he honed his craft for member berries and tone in Star Trek. So all of you Force Awakens fans can thank Star Trek 2009 for making it so that you could see that. It is a reality. If it weren't for Star Trek 2009, then Star Wars The Force Awakens would have been terrible. Because while J.J. Abrams claims to be a fan of many things, his eyes are black as night, his soul is empty, and he has no anus. That means that he just absorbs everything, and there is no waste. He does not excrete. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yeah. I do not think that J.J. Abrams was right or correct in rebooting Star Trek, but by gar, did he play an old song that I loved. He had all of the sounds, he had all of the characters, not his characters, and he had a true blue Star Trek fan. And unfortunately, that Star Trek fan who was part of the creative process of 2009 Star Trek hasn't been seen since. Roberto Orci, where are you? What happened? Show me on the doll where JJ touched you, or vice versa. There is something very strange. I do believe that the entire reason that JJ and Alex got into Star Trek was because of Roberto Orci. And Roberto Orci was supposed to direct Star Trek Beyond, and he didn't. He just didn't. He went away, and apparently there are a lot of holes in the desert. So I don't know where he went. But he seemed to be the guy who was actually the Star Trek fan. And I've listened to the Star Trek 2009 audio commentary. According to Variety, Paramount did market research to gauge interest to help to decide how to move forward, including if they should bring back the Kelvin crew. Eventually, executives, quote unquote, determined that there was still lasting audience enthusiasm for Pine, Quinto, and the rest of the cast in their established roles, which allowed the studio to feel comfortable with moving forward with bringing them back, end quote. Variety also comments on Abrams' comments during the investor event. Now, before we get to JJ's comments, I loved The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. No, I know I'm drinking. This is also part of the fun of not having a co-host, is I can do whatever I want. I remember JJ on The Daily Show when he said that he did not like Star Trek. It was too intellectual. Now, in my opinion, when you call something too intellectual, you're basically just telling someone that you're a dummy, right? Like, you don't say that something is too intellectual. You say, it was too smart for me, I didn't engage with it, but I found such and such appealing. Well, no, you don't even do that. Let's just, you know what? I'm going to role play. I'm going to role play here for a second. Because this is, I do want to break this down and I want to understand. I want to parse this out and figure it out. So I'm directing a Star Trek movie and I've never been a Star Trek fan. All right. So I go into an interview while I'm trying to market this Star Trek movie. And I say, I don't like Star Trek. Bad. No. Scott, don't do it. One time I went into a job interview and I said I had a problem with authority and I remained unemployed for a while. I found the scientific exploration to be a bit technobabbly, but I always enjoyed the characters and their interactions. That's what you say. For a guy, come on. J.J. Abrams. Never gauge an individual based on how much money they make, because quite frankly, rich people can be dumb too. You're there to sell the movie. And saying that you don't like coloring books, but you just made a new coloring book, means that your coloring book is going to be half-assed. I'm sorry about the tangents and the metaphors. It's kind of my thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The Fantasmagorium show, at the very least, provides something once a Wednesday. If you'd like to see more, please visit our page. We do have a merch store, I think. We have a website. All of the links are down below. I'm good? Covered all the things? Great. Anyway, I don't think that J.J. Abrams is at fault. I think he's a good director, but I don't think he has the passion that, say, Justin Lin does. Now, Justin Lin, if you'll remember, and I have to double check this so I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm pretty sure it was Justin Lin. Hang on a second. I'm gonna Google. All right, just give me a tick. I have to find out if Justin Lin directed Star Trek Beyond. Justin Lin did direct Star Trek Beyond. And I think that he brought a more heartfelt energy to the Star Trek Kelvin Universe franchise. I don't want to call it Kurtzman Trek because, quite frankly, I think that Justin Lin elevated Star Trek with Beyond. Now, don't get all uppity. We're still dealing with the things that had happened before, but you can either choose to be angry or you can choose to enjoy. And quite frankly, if there is not lobster, I will have the crab. And however, that's my food metaphor for, like, obviously the original series movies 1 through 6 are lobster. Oh, The Next Generation. What is that? It's shrimp. It's prawns. And I do think that based on the 3 Kelvinverse films And if you're all wondering what the Kelvin verse is, if this is your first time foraying, Ferengieing, finagling, whatever. So if this is your first time into the Kelvin verse is a divergent timeline that happened when the Narada, which was a Romulan mining vessel that had been modified with late 24th or early 25th century Borg components, it went back in time. And it made a divergent timeline through the course of the original, not the original, I caught myself, the 2009 film. And so it created a new timeline, and so now Captain Kirk's dad dies. George Kirk, played by Chris Hemsworth, and amazing. I thought he did it. It was pre-Thor. I thought it was great. I did see the film myself in the theater, in a VIP cinema, in a lazy boy with table service and way too much beer. So if I like this too much, it's probably because I was on a date and I was half in the bag, and so was she. I'll let you know, it worked out. So, where was I? Let's go back to the article. I lost my train of thought. Yeah. J.J. Abrams says, "We're thrilled to say that we are hard at work on a new Star Trek film that we'll be shooting by the end of the year that will be featuring our original cast and some of the new characters that I think are going to be really fun and exciting and help take Star Trek into areas that you've just never seen before. We're thrilled about this film. We have a bunch of other stories that we're talking about that we think will be really exciting. So can't wait for you to see what we're cooking up. But until then, obligatory live long and prosper." J.J. Abrams, you are a real estate agent that I wouldn't believe even if you were starring in a 12-minute video titled Property Sex. I don't think I've seen the video. You don't like Star Trek. Take you into areas you've never been before or you've never seen before. You haven't seen them. So I find you unqualified. I know someone who is qualified, and his name is Robert Meyer Burnett. If you haven't subscribed to the Post Geek Singularity or checked out the Robservations show, you should check him out. He is far more passionate, far more established, and way more qualified to be talking about such stuff. From what I understand, he is quite the Enterprise refit aficionado. And for that, God bless him. New script with new writers continues this article from Trek Movie as reported by Deadline. Last year, Abrams hired WandaVision's Matt Shakman, which I did enjoy. I really liked WandaVision, to helm the film. Oh yeah, no, the direction was good. I was referring to the writing, but the direction was good as well. It was also reported last year that a script had been written by Lindsay Beer from Sierra Burgess is a Loser. Never heard of it. And Geneva Robertson Dwore. I apologize. I thought the final T was silent. Who was on Captain Marvel. But according to today's Variety, the current script was written by Josh Friedman, who apparently contributed to Avatar 2, which I have not seen, and Cameron Squires, another WandaVision alumni. Based on an earlier draft by Beer and Robertson Dware, or Dworet. I think it's Dware. It has to be Dware. Holiday 2023, the last news out of Paramount regarding the movie was when the studio moved the release date from summer to December 22nd, 2023, starting production by the end of 2022. Would still allow for Paramount to meet that release date. Now, God, you are digging yourself a hole. Star Trek V was hindered by a release date. Paramount? No one wants this movie. No one. We're interested to see if you can do it, but no one wants it. So don't think that you have a deadline. Are you simple? How? Oh, we're going to get it out by Christmas 2023. Dude, take another year. Do it properly and make it right. What are you thinking? There have been many stops and starts with Star Trek feature films at Paramount, with a number of different projects in development since 2016's Star Trek Beyond. However, this is the first time Paramount has put a Star Trek film on their release calendar since Beyond, and bringing Abrams into the Investor Day event also indicates this project has momentum. We will, trekmovie.com via deadline, will keep track of this project and provide updates when possible. Now, I just gotta say, I liked 2009. I liked Carl Urban and Alice Eve, like everybody in the cast in Star Trek Into Darkness was fantastic. The worst part about Star Trek Into Darkness was the title. The second awful thing about Star Trek Into Darkness was the stupid marketing bait and switch. Also, the third, actually, you know what? Can I shuffle up again? I'm going to shuffle up again. The first worst thing about Star Trek Into Darkness was Benedict Cumberbatch playing Khan. Not because Benedict Cumberbatch is bad, just because it's terrible casting. I don't want to get into racial things, but the character is defined racially. He's a Sikh. Oh, I know. We should get this white bread Caucasian. Can't say the F-bomb during a Star Trek show. That's a rule. Although I'm sure I already have. But if I can catch myself, I think it's beneficial for everyone. And then Star Trek Beyond, I thought was, the first time that I had ever seen an original series live action Star Trek episode. And I appreciated it. I liked it. I wish they hadn't have blown up the Enterprise, but you can't get mad at a movie because it's not the movie you wanted to see. You just got to enjoy the movie that you're watching or not enjoy it. It's up to you. And also, I like the song Sabotage. Not in the first Star Trek Kelvin, but in the third Star Trek Kelvin, I appreciated it. And also, Carl Urban. He is the real deal. He is one of my favorite genre actors. And I think that he absolutely fulfilled the respect that should be garnered upon DeForest Kelley. And for that, like that reverence in a performance, whether or not he holds that personally, not my concern. But the reverence, which also informs my opinion of J.J. Abrams. I don't think J.J. Abrams has reverence. You look back upon previous sort of directors, not sort of directors, capital D directors, who have helmed, no pun intended, Star Trek films. And when Nicholas Meyer did it, he captured something of Star Trek. Not exactly, but enough, more than enough, to make the characters true, the adventure real. Robert Wise, director of West Side Story and The Day the Earth Stood Still, and several episodes of Columbo, I'm told. He captured the wonder of the galaxy. And while people may say it's long and boring, it's operatic, and space is big. And Robert Wise got that. You don't get to just... Sorry, Q. You got to travel. And if you want to show scale, show something big in the first act, and then show something bigger in the third. Good filmmaking. Sure, you can make your comparisons to 2001. I don't think it was trying to be 2001. 2001 is very different from Star Trek the Motion Picture, and that's a conversation that I'm open to. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I've been talking, and now I want to go and watch Star Trek. Actually, it's Voyager night. Wednesdays are usually Voyager night. And so I think we're in like somewhere in season 3 or 4. I still have regular cable. And so I CTV Sci-Fi in Canada, for anybody who's watching along in Canada, or if you have any means to watch such. They play Star Trek every day of the week. Star Trek, the original series, is on Mondays. Next Generation is on Tuesdays. Wednesdays is Voyager. Thursdays is Deep Space Nine. And Fridays is Enterprise. I've seen all of those shows, but not all of those shows. I've seen a lot of Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager and Enterprise. I've seen all of, except for maybe one or two, of the original series, Next Generation, and Deep Space Nine. But Voyager, there are gaps in my memory and in my viewership. I haven't watched them all. And Enterprise, there are gaps because I haven't watched them all. But that's a story for a different day. Anyway, if you enjoy... I already did that. If you enjoy talking about Star Trek and you want to talk about Star Trek, please let me know. Yes, I did. I did already say that. Yeah, well, it's Wednesday. Cut me some slack. It's hump day. I wish you all the best. Please say hello to your friends. Say hello to your family. And your friends can be your family. What is it? What Dr. McCoy says in Star Trek V? So we spend all that time in space, and what do we do when we get shore leave? We hang out together. We should be hanging out with our families. And then Kirk says, men like us don't have family bones. Then at the end of the movie, Kirk says something along the lines, and I can't remember it. I'm not an encyclopedia. I'm not a Vulcan. Bones says to Kirk, I thought you said men like us don't have families. And Kirk says, I was wrong. So, to everyone within my Star Trek family, and I think that if we like Star Trek, then we're family. Yeah. I appreciate you hanging out. I hope to talk about this with you again. But until next time, this has been Set to Stun, and Scott out, hailing frequencies closed.